Thank you for joining us as we explore what it is, why the Council has chosen this approach, and how you can get involved. Well, first, we'll hear from Councillor Catherine Dunn, Cabinet Member for Climate, Environment and Transport at Council. She'll introduce the Hounslow Green Investment opportunity, outlining why the Council has chosen this scheme, the benefits it offers to our community in the environment, and what it means for the borough's future. Then we'll hear from Carl Harder, co-founder and managing director of Abundance Investment. Carl will explain Abundance' role in delivering the scheme, give an overview of the web platform, and walk us through the investor's journey, from getting started to seeing the real-world impact of investments. So let's get started. I'm delighted today to hand over to Councillor Dunn to open today's session. Councillor Dunn, over to you.
Thank you very much, Joanna.
There we go.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Joanna. As Joanna said, I'm Councillor Catherine Dunn. I'm the Cabinet Member for Climate, Environment and Transport at London Borough of Hounslow. And so I will first just introduce what is the Hounslow Green Investment and why have we chosen to do this. Like many other councils, we care very deeply about our green local environment, but also the effect that we have on the environment as a council and the wider world. I'm just getting a blue screen, Joanna. Oh, it's come back again. And of course, in order to meet our goals when it comes to improving the environment and reducing our negative effect on the environment, that requires a substantial amount of investment. And we have lots of different sources of funding where we can get money to invest in these types of projects. The unique thing about the Hounslow Green Investment is that it's something that anyone can get involved with. We aim to raise a total of £5 million over 5 years to support our local environmental projects. Now that sounds like a big amount of money, but the unique thing about this is that anyone can get involved and investments can start from as low as just £5. So it really is something that we would encourage everyone to consider. If you would like to see to invest your money, get a return on that money, and at the same time know that where your funding is going is into local green projects to improve the area. So we're not the first council to do this. There are several other councils that have done it, and it was something that I've been keen on getting involved with for a while. Now, the framework is a community municipal investment structure. And the good thing about this is there is very transparent governance. So if you do choose to invest your money in this scheme, then you will be provided with information about where the money is going. And that's what differentiates this scheme from many other places where you might be tempted or encouraged to invest your money. It will go towards our specific goals, reaching our net zero targets, and putting in place projects that not only help the environment, but are there to improve the lives of our residents as well. And there will be a very strong focus on encouraging community participation. The benefits for us as a council are that it is a very good way of raising money. It will give us cheaper rates than if we were to go to the Public Works Loans Board, but there is still a good return to investors. And as I said, you can start from as little as £5, and investments are ISA eligible. So it does make it open to a lot of people. And you will have the chance to see how your investment can make a difference locally. So Joanna, if you can move us on to the next slide. So just to give you a flavour for some of the projects that would be eligible for funding from this programme. One is our schools decarbonisation and clean air for schools programme. So this could be things like fitting rooftop solar panels on schools, or energy efficient upgrades, or schemes to encourage youngsters to travel to school by bike or by other environmentally friendly means. Cycle training is another area of importance. We do deliver sessions of cycle training for young people and for adults and people with disabilities. And we do a lot of this, and we always need to top up the funding that we receive from TfL and other sources for this. So this could be another potential area of investment. Our community energy fund, now this is great because this is open to community groups and faith groups and other organisations within the borough to apply for funding that we make available. And so recent schemes that have been funded include solar panels for a church, upgrades to community centres, cleaner vehicles for community groups. It really is something that benefits the wider community. And the final example I'll give is around our Grow for the Future project, which you may have heard of, which is around transforming unused council land to turn into allotments and small plots for growing food and educating citizens on healthy living and healthy eating. So that's just a few examples. There will be many other projects. The list of projects to be approved will be done on a rolling basis. And of course, any scheme to be eligible for funding must be aligned with the Hounslow Green Investment Framework. I'm now going to hand over to Carl, who will tell you more about the specifics from Abundance.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Councillor Dunn, and thank you, Joanna. So, yes, so I'll introduce Abundance Investment. We're the regulated firm that are regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority to essentially bring about the investment, enabling individuals to lend money to councils. So we operate an online platform that makes this process all possible. We're also, as Councillor Dunn mentioned, the investment is ISA eligible. I'll talk a little bit more about that further through the presentation, but we're regulated by HMRC as an ISA manager, again, to sort of administer ISAs on behalf of investments. So we've worked with, I think it's now just over 15 councils that are using this mechanism. So it's something that's very much growing across the UK as councils sort of recognise that, you know, citizens living in their communities have a desire to put their money to work, not just into local banks where it goes off into the national, even international money markets, but actually put their money to work to make their communities better and earn a return on that money, which is competitive with other low risk saving and investment propositions. So yeah, it's fantastic to be working with Hounslow and developing this scheme in the community, and excited by what it can produce over the coming years. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the framework that governs it from what's Councillor Dunn referenced as the Green Finance Framework, and the role that we play in supporting this. So what we do in practice, as the last slide just highlighted, is run the platform. If you have queries about the investment or what the money has been used for, you can contact us. So the contact details at the end of this presentation. As Councillor Dunn references, a £5 minimum. The investment is ISA eligible, and again through the platform, you will be able to deposit your money, make the investment, but you'll also see exactly what your money has gone to deliver. So each pound will be linked to a project, whether that is the Community Energy Fund, whether it's the cycle training, whether it's solar panels on a building. You will know the building, the postcode, and how much that project costs. So that transparency over how your money has impacted your community is paramount to how the whole essentially proposition is put together. So yes, if we go on to the next slide. Fantastic, thank you, Joanna. So this investment that Hounslow are offering is done in compliance with what's known as the Green Loan Principles. This is the same framework that UK government used when they issued their own green bond, and it is a framework that's used by many entities around the world to essentially give assurance that a pound raised through a green loan is going to deliver green projects. So we as a regulated body oversee this process and essentially conduct assurance role to make sure that every pound that is invested is actually going on to deliver what are recognised as eligible green projects. And again, that communication back to investors is absolutely paramount here to make sure that you have the confidence that your money is going into your community to do the things that you're investing to make happen. So I think, Joanna, we can go on to the next slide, which is just thought it's useful to sort of give a feel of the sort of the process that people have to go through to make an investment. So obviously our platform is on the URL www.abundanceinvestment.com, and once you're there you can navigate to via the invest link at the top to the Hounslow offer. There is routes also through the Hounslow website, which will take you directly into the Hounslow Green Investment page. As Joanna's kindly sort of scrolled up, and this is the sort of landing page that you would come to on the website when you look to make your first investment before you've formed an account. Currently raised 640,000 out of the million target, with 22 days left to get to the target, which is the million for this tranche, and then over the coming years we'll look to build towards the 5 million target that Hounslow have. The interest rate on this loan is 4.1%, and interest rates on different tranches will be different based on the background interest rate at the time. So as bank saving account rates go up and down, the rate on a Hounslow Green Investment at different tranches will be different rates. But the important thing is, if you invest in this tranche, it will be 4.1% fixed across the 5-year term period. So we could go on to the next slide, please, Joanna. So there's a number of steps you have to go through to make an investment. One important thing to sort of be aware of is we have to, under the FCA Financial Conduct Authority regulations, we have to ask new investors to pass a test to check that they have understood the investment and what it is and how it works. So there is a test here it's got 7 questions, and there's a quick guide which is well worth reading because it will make answering the questions a lot easier. But they are sort of fairly straightforward in terms of what they're expecting you to understand. So we've gone to the next slide, please, Joanna. Once you've passed the test, you then have a choice when you're creating your account as to what way you want to invest. So you can invest, as we've talked about before, through what's known as an innovative finance ISA. So this is a different type of ISA to stocks and shares and cash. Every year individuals have the ability to invest £20,000 into ISAs, but you can spread that 20,000 across the different ISA types. So you could put 5,000 into a stocks and shares, 10,000 into cash, and 5,000 into an innovative finance ISA and invest into Hounslow Green Investment. If you had 20,000 spare, not many people do so, but you can spread £5 across each ISA if that is again the way you want to invest. We go on to the next slide after that, please, Joanna. And then, so once you've passed the test, you've chosen your account, you'll then be able to deposit money onto the platform to make your investment. And then once we've raised the money, all that money is passed across to Hounslow, who will then start investing that money in the community and paying you every 6 months your interest and capital payment for the 5-year term period. And then as the money is being deployed by Hounslow, you will get a report updated within the website as to exactly where that money has been spent. So this is an example from Hammersmith and Fulham, who've running a similar scheme, and it details the project type, the location of the project's description, and how much was exactly spent on the project. So this transparency is really important. And I think some of the things we hear from council climate teams is they really value the sort of focus that the green investment brings to their work and helps galvanise their sort of work within the council because of the scrutiny that's getting externally. So it helps put more fire essentially behind them to get the projects delivered that they said they were going to deliver. So it's a really good way of essentially using your pounds as a vote of confidence in your council's climate plan and to really help drive that action locally at a rate which hopefully we can all collectively increase across the UK and the globe, so we can get to net zero on the timeline that we have set. So I think we can go on to the final slide. So yes, just Q&A. The very last slide of the presentation has our contact details. So again, if you're on the platform, you're not sure how to do this, or you've got questions more specifically around the investment when you're going through the platform, we're available Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. To answer those, there's a chat function which has a real person sitting behind it, not a bot, email support, and telephone inquiries. So yeah, don't hesitate to get in touch if you've got questions once you're into the process. But obviously we can take other questions now through FAQs.
Yeah, so thank you so much, everyone who's for Carl and Councillor Dunn for their presentation. I will get started with a couple of questions, which I'm sure will be in everyone's mind. So I would kind of like to kick off for both of you. It's a question for both of you. If you were to look back in 5 years' time, what would success for the Hounslow Green Investment scheme look like for both in numbers and the impact on the community in Hounslow? So that's an open question for Carl and Councillor Dunn.
Shall I start off? I mean, the obvious first point is if we can raise the money, if we can raise the target that we've set for ourselves, then that will be a success. But of course, it's what we do with the money that's important. So successfully having helped community groups, schools, charities, other people within the borough to move forward in their journey either towards net zero or to greening and making their area more pleasant. That's another measure of success. Also, for me, I very much want local people to be involved in this. So this scheme is open to anyone to invest in, but I'm really wanting to make sure that the residents of our borough of Hounslow are sharing in the benefits and the successes of this, both through what we fund, but also through the investment and the fact that the opportunity to invest their own money and make a return on that. So for me, it's all about the environment, but also about the Hounslow community.
Great, thanks, Councillor Dunn. Carl, do you have anything to add?
I think I would just second that. Yes, obviously reaching the target of the 5 million is really important, and delivering that value in terms of saving the council money in their borrowing. But yes, it's about getting local people connected to the council and that feeling that you are making things happen in the community. It's critical. The challenge we have on climate can only really be solved by that collective effort, and I think that community and residents working together to deliver change is what this is about.
Yeah, Amazing, thank you. And I've got another question, which might be a bit controversial, but I think a lot of people have that in their mind, which is, why is the council launching this investment opportunity? Why borrowing money from citizens, from businesses? What do you think is the most important thing for building public trust and confidence in this approach? How can people trust that their money is going to be put in good use, that they're going to get their money back? Yeah, any views?
Sure, I could maybe come in on that in terms of, I think that this gets to the heart of essentially this, the model that it is about the council opening up a little bit and how it works and how it delivers things, and for people to get involved in the heart of local government, and through that process actually get visibility of the incredible stuff that local government does for communities up and down the country on a daily basis. So we very much see this process as a builder of trust because of that transparency. And in terms of on this specific investment, how do we build that confidence? It's a little bit of giving it a try and using that to build the confidence. We sit here as the firm regulated by the FCA to oversee the process, ensure that the obligations that the council has to its citizens when the investment is made are upheld. But we've got no doubt that they will be because of the work we do with the councils leading up to this, and just our general understanding of the council sector more broadly.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And just to add, as I mentioned, this is something that I've wanted us to do for a while, and big thanks to Jake, who's not on the call, and also Michael Doherty, our strategic finance manager, who is on the call, who've really worked towards making this happen. It's not something where we just said, right, we'll ask people to give us money and it'll all be fine, lend us money and it'll all be fine. There is a lot of work that has gone into this, and they work with Abundance, and the fact that they can help us with that regulatory side to make sure that this is all done properly in a way that's going to benefit the council, the projects that we fund, but also provide that reassurance for anyone who does invest their money that it is all open and transparent, and that the risks, there are always risks when you invest, but that the risks are minimized and managed accordingly.
Amazing, thank you. We're coming close to the end of our session, so Councillor Dunn and Carl, feel free to add any additional remarks before we end this webinar.
I would just say, do go on the website, do find more about it, and take up the offer to talk to Abundance about it if you are having any doubts or have any questions. I think there's 22 days left to get involved in this tranche, so don't leave it too long. Carl, anything else?
I think Councillor Dunn has articulated perfectly there. So yes, any questions, please don't hesitate to come through and ask. And certainly even just sign up on the platform if you want to see how the first loan goes in terms of repayments and project delivery. That will all be visible. And then if that sort of is actually build your understanding of it, maybe the future tranches are also something you would then look at.
Amazing. That brings us to the end of the session today. A big thank you to Councillor Dunn and Carl Harder for sharing their time and expertise, and to all of you for joining us. We hope this has given you a clear understanding of the Hounslow Green Investment and how you can be part of it. On behalf of Hounslow Council, big thank you, and we look forward to connecting with you all again soon.